So like I said, every time the US gets out of the war, tries to get out of any war, you'll always have these hundreds of millions of concern-trolling articles about the Kurds, the genocide. Fed the rest that random warlords are better for women than the Taliban. It's like comparing the difference between feces and vomit. I don't know, diarrhea and vomit. That's a better analogy. They're both symptoms of cholera, but neither are better for you than the other because there's a deeper sickness, which is cholera. Oh, that analogy turned out to be really good. Okay. Ooh, so when you start researching, what you realize is that it's just one group of warlords who are kind of upset that they can't warlord anymore, mad about the other group of warlords, drug mafia, right? Well, when you don't have a functioning government, other things pop up like toll mafia. So the toll mafia is real. According to reporter Ahmed Rashid, when he was traveling between Quetta, Pakistan to Kandahar, Afghanistan, each group of warlord every 10 to 20 kilometers had those spiking barricades that if you drove over it with your car, it would puncture your tire. And then you had to pay them like 100 rupees or 200 rupees or whatever you had to pay back then. And yeah, you couldn't pay in Afghanistan currency because there was no government. So you had to pay in either US dollars, Indian rupees, or Pakistani rupees. And then you go another 10 kilometers. So the road was about 150 kilometers between Quetta and Kandahar. I like Marianne a lot. I think she's mistaken, but yeah, it is meant to pull on their heartstrings. You go another 10 kilometers. There's a second set of warlords who also have those spikes on the road where if you were to drive over, your tires are going to go to. Now they're going to charge you 200 rupees because again, the government, there's no real government. So that's the toll road mafia. Let's continue. The rice mafia. This one gets really weird. So then when you don't have government regulating the shipment of rice, you have these people who get monopolies, and then these crazy psychos are having drive-by shootouts over who gets to sell rice to which turf, who then they mark up. So really, it's just like, what? The trucker mafia. So now, because these psychos have a toll road every 10 kilometers, now their friends are like, yo, I'll give you like I don't know, 10% of the cut of the crap that I transport from Pakistan to Kandahar. And you can you just let us pass through the toll roads without the spikes? And they're like, okay. Guess what they're transporting? Rice and carrots. So then these truckers basically are the only ones who can safely travel through the roads without getting extorted. The last one is 100% real. I'm not kidding. And the last one is the egg mafia. Yeah. These truckers who are transporting crates of eggs have a mafia about the eggs. And this was again from the Quetta to Kandahar road. Quetta is in Pakistan and Kandahar is in Afghanistan. It's like a 150-kilometer highway. Somebody just Google map and link it here. And now again, psychos are having drive-by shootouts because this person thinks he's the only one who should be selling eggs in this half of Kandahar, while this psycho thinks that he should be selling eggs in this half of Kandahar, and the price of eggs are going really, really high. And if you're poor, you're screwed. Yes, please hit the subscribe button. So this is the situation after the Democratic People's Republic of Afghanistan was defeated. These psycho mafias everywhere. On top of that, we already covered how the warlords were fighting each other because they all wanted more of the monopoly power. They were also, in some ways, extremely psychotic. psychotic. They also had, and if you couldn't pay with money, guess what? Oh boy. This is like literally the libertarian paradise. This is what libertarians want. This is the world that libertarians want you to have. This is from the December 31st, 1996 New York Times. Two teenagers from Mullah's village of Singasar had been abducted by one of the gangs of the Mujahideen. That is Ronald Reagan's Mujahideen, by the way, or holy warriors who controlled much of the Afghan countryside. The girl's head had been shaved and they had been taken to a checkpoint outside the village and they had been repeatedly raped. The girl's plight moved him to act, gathering about 30 former guerrilla fighters who mustered between them 16 Kalashnikov rifles. He led an attack on the checkpoint, freed the girls, tied the checkpoint commander by a noose to the barrel of an old Soviet tank. As those around him shouted, "God is great," Mullah Omar ordered the tank barrel raised and left a dead man hanging as a grisly warning. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's, yeah, like I said, it's not that, it's about 150 kilometers and you have all these cycles there. So that's kind of how they started in Kandahar. If you are an Afghanistani person and you could not buy eggs without getting a drive-by shootout, even the Taliban's psychotic Sharia law is better because at least you can go buy eggs and no one is. And then the Islamic law prohibits you from price gouging on eggs, so you can go buy eggs for your kids. That is like, I guess, a vast improvement. I don't know what to say. And then you don't have to. And then you don't have to get, like, from going from your house to the egg store. You don't have to give like 100 people tolls. For the eggs. I mean, it gets really psychotic. So that's kind of what happened, is that the warlords had their own little turf wars. They were able to raise an army and they defeated these psychotic warlords and kind of marginalized them. Well, 9/11. Yeah, but what if you had to deal with drive-by shootouts over eggs? Like egg lords are doing drive-by shootouts in order so that each one can get their own egg drive-by shootout, egg turf. That brings a new meaning to the word egg. By the way, if the egg monopoly girl's grandpa did drive-by shootouts over his egg monopoly turf, yeah, it's psycho. So now let us see who the Taliban were. They were mostly young refugees or students, hence the name Taliban, who studied in madrasas with books given to them by the CIA in Pakistan. A handful of commanders from the Mujahideen. So the Mujahideen were like a lot of different psychotic warlords and some local Pashto tribes people who were just tired of this like egg monopoly bullshit. You're gonna get involved in the shootout over carrots and tomatoes. Because remember, there's no government. And so everything is about whoever. It's like all about protecting your turf. So yeah, it'll be about rice. Oh yeah. And then when you remember how I talked about the rice monopoly? Well, did you know that there was adulterated? Not to mention, there's no organization to look to make sure that these like cycles are giving you rice. In Lahore, there was some rice mixed in with gravel and yeah, everything. Anything that can be sold will now be a mafia because there is no state. Your ability to make money will have to do with your ability to pay fealty or how closely related you are to the psychotic warlord.